Today, we're going to dive into a concept that is no joke, a total game changer for anyone who's serious about using AI. We're talking about skills for Claude. We're going to see how you can take your AI chats from repetitive and kind of tedious to, well, revolutionary. Let's get right into it.
So, does this sound familiar? You find yourself explaining the same context, the same style guide, the same complicated process to your AI over and over and over again. It's powerful, yeah, but it always feels like you're starting from scratch every single time. Well, what if you didn't have to?
And that, right there, is the core promise of Claude Skills. It's a simple idea, but it's incredibly powerful. You package up your specific knowledge, your unique workflows, you teach them to the AI one time, and then you get to benefit from that expertise pretty much forever.
So let's really dig in and figure out what these skills actually are. The best way to think about them is like a permanent upgrade for your AI's brain, one that's tailored specifically by you, for you.
At its heart, a skill is really just a folder. And inside that folder, there's a file with instructions that tells Claude exactly how to perform a task your way. Whether that's generating a weekly report in your company's specific format, or planning a software sprint, or even creating design assets that match your brand. It's your process just written down for the AI. And this chart just lays out the difference perfectly. Before skills, you're just stuck in this loop, right? Re-explaining everything, getting kind of inconsistent results, always starting from square one. But with skills, all of that changes. You teach it once, and you get reliable, optimized workflows that just kick in automatically whenever you need them.
Okay, I absolutely love this analogy. If you're using Claude with other tools, what the pros call MCPs, or multi-connector providers, think of those connections as a fully stocked professional kitchen. They give Claude access to all the tools and ingredients it could ever need. But a kitchen by itself doesn't make a 5-star meal. The skills, those are the recipes. They provide the step-by-step instructions. It's the huge difference between what Claude can do and what Claude should do.
So how does this all work without completely overwhelming the AI with information? Well, the secret is this really clever design principle called progressive disclosure. It's the secret sauce that makes a skill both super powerful and incredibly efficient. It basically works in 3 layers. First, there's this tiny little summary that acts as a trigger. It just tells Claude when the skill might be relevant. It's always there, but it takes up almost no memory. Now, only when that's triggered does Claude load the second level, the main instructions file. And then finally, only if it needs even more detail for some edge case, it goes and accesses the third level of reference files. This is just brilliant. It means you use the absolute minimum number of tokens while keeping all that amazing expertise on standby.
Okay, this all sounds fantastic, but how hard is it to actually build one? You might be thinking it's some huge technical project. Well, you're probably going to be surprised by how simple it actually is. Let's take a look.
That's it. No, seriously, that's the entire structure of a skill. It's just a folder with a few optional subfolders for things like scripts or extra documents. But look really closely. The only thing that's actually required is that one single file, skl.md. That's the brain of the whole operation, and it's all you need to get started. And inside that one crucial file, this is the part you absolutely 100% have to nail. The first few lines are what's called YAML front matter. Don't worry, it's just a small block of text at the very top of the file. This is that tiny summary we were just talking about. It's the trigger. If you get this part wrong, the whole skill just won't work.
So what does a good one look like? Here is a perfect example. Notice how specific it is about what it does. It analyzes Figma files. And it's crystal clear about when to use it, listing exact trigger phrases like design specs or design to code handoff. Claude knows exactly when to pull this skill off the shelf.
And now, for what not to do. Helps with projects. I mean, this is just way too vague, right? Claude has no idea what kind of project, what the steps are, or when you might need this skill. It's probably never going to get triggered, or it'll trigger at all the wrong times. Specificity is everything.
So, here's the magic formula to remember. It's super simple. Your description must clearly state what the skill does and when to use it. As long as you have both of those pieces, you are on the right track.
All right, now for the really fun part. Once you've mastered that simple little formula, what kind of powerful new workflows can you actually build? Let's look at a few common examples.
First up, document and asset creation. Just imagine, every report, every presentation, every design your team creates is perfectly consistent. It follows your style guide to the letter every single time, and nobody has to remember all the little rules. A skill can embed your entire brand identity right into Claude.
Second, workflow automation. Think about any multi-step process you have to do again and again. Customer onboarding, planning a sprint, publishing content. A skill can automate that entire sequence, handling all the different steps and even using multiple tools to get the job done right every time.
And third, you can enhance the tools you already use. A skill can teach Claude your team's best practices for using things like Sentry or Notion or Figma. It turns that raw tool access into expert-level execution, basically embedding your team's domain knowledge directly into the AI.
Now, after seeing all that, you might be thinking, this sounds like a major project that'll take all weekend. But here's the most amazing part. According to the official guide, you can build and test your very first working skill in about 15 to 30 minutes. That's it. That's all it takes to go from repeating yourself to having a custom, automated workflow ready to go.
So that really just leaves us with one question. Thinking about your own work, your own repetitive tasks, those unique processes that only you know. What's the very first workflow you're going to automate? Thanks for tuning in.